Good evening, and a very warm welcome to all of you tuned in for this very special edition of TUP Career Cafe. My name is Rahul Pathak, and I'll be your host today. TUP, or the Ultimate Pitch, is a competition which allows bright young talent across B schools of India to showcase uninhibited entrepreneurial spirit. As an organization, Reliance has always believed in thinking big, thinking fast, and thinking ahead. And that's exactly what we are looking in for our future talents too. We are looking for change makers, trendsetters, and innovators who are willing to take the first step to make a difference, one idea at a time. Moreover, for those who do dare to dream and make it to the national finals of TUP, you can stand a chance to win PPIs or the pre placement interviews for the prestigious Reliance Emerging Leaders Program. Now, while all that sounds very exciting, sometimes the start can be quite daunting. So, this unique career cafe is for you, our future leaders. Let's use this 1 hour to learn and have a conversation about careers in the track of your choice, in this case, which is operations. And to help you along, we have a leader from Reliance who is here to talk about the exciting opportunities at Reliance, their own personal journeys, as well as to share some useful insights into the track of your choice and the one you're interested in. We request all of you to please feel free to post your questions in the chat window. We shall try to take some throughout the session. So, first up, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ravikumar Nair, Senior Vice President, Head of Logistics for Petrochemicals, Hydrocarbon Business of Reliance Industries. A veteran in logistics and warehousing with overall experience of close to 30 years. Welcome, sir, to the Career Cafe. It is a pleasure to host you.
Thank you, Rahul.
We start with you telling a little bit about yourself and your professional journey so far.
Thanks, Rahul, and good evening, everyone. To talk about myself, yes, I am Ravikumar Nair. I'm with Reliance for last more than 10 years. Overall, 30 plus years of professional experience. Have done various roles in operations, supply chain. Started with my career with in plant maintenance. Worked as a shop floor engineer in one of the largest paint companies in India. From there, I moved on to the projects department of that particular company. Did that expansion projects for that company. Then I joined one of the major lubricants major in the country. Spent almost close to 10 years with that company. Did various roles in projects, warehousing, safety, and plant operations. Subsequently, I joined again one of the lubricants competitors in India. Did variety of roles as country head logistics, taking care of entire end-to-end supply chain, right from primary warehousing to transportation to secondary warehousing, customer service. And now I'm with Reliance for last 10 years. In Reliance, again, I began with my career for the hazardous cargo chemicals transportation. Subsequently moved on to the solids business of petrochemicals. Today, I head the entire petrochemicals supply chain operations. So happy to be in this cafe. Looking forward to this session. Thanks, Rahul.
That's quite a journey, sir. Now let's talk a little bit about the business you're the part of and you're currently working in. Reliance, being a federation of diverse businesses, I'm sure our audience is keen to understand a little bit about the various kind of opportunities available in operations track at Reliance, especially the business you're in.
Okay. As Rahul, we know Reliance is one of the largest conglomerate. We have presence in virtually everything. So basically, our business can be split into four main verticals. One is, of course, the what you call the O2C segment, which is our entire exploration, refining and marketing, and also petrochemicals. The second vertical is, of course, our retail business, where we do the entire retail formats, whichever different formats what we have, including the GeoMart. The other business is all about our digital business with the geo platforms, the geo digital network. That is the third piece. And then we have our foundation, media, and all the digital spaces. So talked about our specific business. Like I had the operations for our supply chain for petrochemicals. Petrochemicals is a very huge domain. Uh, like petrochemical is something which any individual in a day-to-day life, almost close to 98% of your items which you touch or you use in a day has a petrochemical element to that. It is again derived out of the crude oil. So it's a large business by itself. To talk of our operations, like what I handle on an annual basis, something like 16 million metric tons of products are handled by me and my team in in Reliance Petrochemicals. We have multiple plants. We have almost 9 plants in India. We have 3 plants overseas, and they are into various sectors of petrochemicals. Petrochemicals can be mainly divided into the polyester chain, the polymer chain. In polyester chain, we have the fiber intermediates and the pure polyester. Similarly, in polymer chain, we have the polymers, which are the basic plastic granules that get into various plastic applications. And then, of course, we have the elastomer business, which is the rubber business, which very tire industry and the allied rubber industries use. So, to talk of petrochemical operations, we have variety of roles, right from the plant operations. When I say plant operation, the plant supply chain operations, which is mainly the primary warehouses what we handle. When we move on, we have a big space on transportation, where again we have road transportation, we have multimodal transportation, which includes rail as well as coastal. We have exports supply chain operations. We have again similarly we have our entire piece on G&I, which is basically the platform part of which is tech supply chain embedded in the same thing. We also have the settlement function within supply chain. We also handle liquid chartering, which is chartering operation, the big tankers what we handle, which we mean for exports business. Similarly, we have hazardous cargo, which we handle in petrochemicals. That's the liquid piece of it. So, all in all, right from solids to liquids to gases, everything virtually we handle. And by all modes, all means, by road, by rail, by ocean, by air. So you can think of any mode of logistics and supply chain operations. It's available in petrochemicals.
God, and I'm pretty sure the audience would be awed with the sheer scale of Reliance with this answer of yours. Also, the students tuned in would be surely very excited about all the wonderful opportunities that lie ahead to learn and grow. Speaking of growth, our motto here at Reliance is growth is life. And this stems from our fundamental ethos of constantly thinking like an entrepreneur in order to stay ahead of the curve. So, sir, can you tell us a bit about the entrepreneurial zeal that you see in your day to day work?
Yes, that's a very good question, Rahul. I think that's a core value which we as Reliance nurture and we sincerely believe in. Like ownership mindset is something which is one of our core values, and whatever we do, that's something which is always at the forefront. Like I can talk of examples, variety of examples. Like one example is I can talk of our recent COVID impact which we had. Like when if you recollect, when we went into the national lockdown, when the COVID hit us, that was a time when the entire domestic demand had collapsed. There was no movement, and then that the scale of volume which we handle, which I just spoke about, can just imagine what would have happened. So much of productions. How do we evacuate these products? So typically, the Indian market, we the way our petrochemical business is currently positioned, almost 80% of our business is happening in the domestic space, and 20% of our volumes we do in exports. But when the pandemic hit us and we didn't have any domestic market at that point of time, we had to overnight switch these gears of 80% domestic and 20% exports to 20% domestic and 80% exports, which by no means was an easy task. But we had that zeal that yes, we have to ensure that the plant doesn't stop. We have to keep kicking the crackers. We have to ensure that none of our petrochemical units or the polyester units stop. So we, within a matter of, I'll say, a couple of weeks, could scale up the volume from bare minimum zero to steady state, but with a different mix. That was 80% exports and 20% domestic. We, in fact, we were the first company in India. We moved one full container ship worth of exports directly from India, which is like a unique thing. Of course, somebody else followed it afterwards, but we were the first to do that. So this thing is not possible unless we get into that ownership mindset. Yes, this is my company. I need to ensure that come what may, things will not fall apart. So I think in every such small examples, I can talk of variety of examples where we have displayed this. And this is something which we are embedded in every employee. And this is something which we look for in every employee. Any small decisions you do, as long as if there is a money or dollar in the dollar value available in that, we will ensure that it is does not wasted. We will try to retrieve each penny out of it. I hope
Sure, sir.
that gives you a good.
Definitely. And that clearly shows that no matter the sheer scale, how big the sheer scale is, being agile is something that we keep it as a first priority,
Yes, I think
being the key element of being entrepreneur.
just to add, I think resilience is the latest thing, and I think being a resilient supply chain is one of the very important qualities these days. It's required, and I think that's something which we look for and we have nurtured over a period of time. And today, I can say that we are one of the most agile and resilient supply chain the team we have.
Definitely, sir. So now it's time to travel back a bit in time. What are some of the fondest memories of campus and corporate life? And moreover, if you could switch places with students who have joined in the call.
Yes, it's very nostalgic to talk about campus to corporate. In campus, yes, you are a free bird, and then you have your own life. But corporates, yes, you get more discipline. You get into a regimented lifestyle. So it's a major shift when it joined from campus to corporate. And I think when I look back 30 years, uh, there were limited, I'll say, awareness about career at that point of time. Today's generation is much more aware. In fact, we learn from all the youngsters when they look at when the way they look at careers. So when I began, as I told you, I began as a maintenance engineer, and it was a function where we used to do plant maintenance activities. But then it sort of prepared me to take up any difficult task. Like once you work in a maintenance function of any company, you develop an attitude of finding solutions, and that is what has helped me in shaping my career. I never give up. I always look for solutions, what come may. So that was a turning point. I think, though I did maintenance for almost 5 years, but after that there was a foundation years which helped me to really build a mindset to take one step at a time and always look for more options. Like career options will keep on opening up. You need to be open to accept new things, new challenges. But change is the only thing which is consistent. So, as I told, I began with maintenance, moved on to projects, moved on to safety, moved on to plant operations, moved into warehousing, moved into logistics, supply chain. So, very fond memories of various roles. Just I do definitely miss my campus days, but yes, but that's a journey. But it has prepared me to be a better individual. And when I look at these individuals, the new youngsters, I tell them the same thing: look for a role or a job which is more sellable, which is has a demand in the market. no matter what the company is, no matter what your pay packet you're getting, as long as it's a sellable job, you please go for it.
Sure, sir. Your motto of thriving through the change is something that surely the young aspirers would want to adopt in their career going forward. The students who've joined the Career Cafe booth are all aspirants of the operations track. What, according to you, are the top three recommendations for the students to hone their skills in this area? This could be books, interesting courses, or even movies you really think would be useful for them.
Okay. I think, in my view, it's a very, I'll say, fast changing world today. Today's technology is no more valid tomorrow. It's getting obsolete at a much faster pace. So it is very important that you hone your skills in that direction. You should be constantly taking up courses available on which are various. There are various platforms, Coursera, soft skills. There's multiple options available for taking various courses. Taking certifications, be taking certification with those professional bodies in terms of the latest things that is happening, the latest trends in this in your area of operations. And uh, the third thing which I can talk of is uh, attending seminars and webinars. That also is a big thing which enables you to know the latest thing. Also, you get a lot of case studies when you attend these seminars and webinars. The same problem would have been experienced by a different company in a different form. So you learn from that experience. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So, in short, look for courses in your respective areas. Today, because of the digital revolution, it's available. Most of things are available on the digital platforms. Look for certifications with various professional bodies, be it the CSCMP or various PNC related certifications. Similarly, webinars, attend the webinars, try if you get an opportunity, look, attend various conferences. That actually helps you to hone up the skills, and always look for the changes that is happening in your respective domains.
Got it, sir. And students, I hope you're taking notes. We have close to 30 years of experience squeezed in an hour session, so you got to make the most of it. Okay, so continuing the theme of tips and learning, I think one of the biggest teachers in the recent past has been the disruption that the world has witnessed in this pandemic. Work certainly has changed the way we learn, the way we quickly adapt. And can you tell us how things have changed at work for you? And what advice would you give the students to thrive in this new normal?
Yeah, it's been I'll say sea change what we have seen in the last 2.5 years. Talk of like Reliance per se, we working from remote working was not something which we were used to, but now this is the new normal. A hybrid way of working is something which is a new normal. Uh, Disruptions are become a way of life. Rather, I'll say we are living from one disruption to another disruption. So always have a proper business continuity plan. Whatever you plan, it may fail. So always have a business continuity plan in place. Uh, Keep on revisiting that BCP time to time to ensure that what updations you need to do. Try to rehearse and do a tabletop exercise in terms of how do we act in case of something going wrong. So these things we were never thinking of in our earlier steady state, but today, since we know that disruptions do happen, and whatever learnings we have, I'll say, gathered over the last 2.5 years, we keep on try and document those things so that the further future leaders, they can easily revisit those things and then learn from that. So that has been my experience. And be agile. Resilience is something which is a basic requirement nowadays, because customer needs are changing. You need to respond much faster. Otherwise you'll be outpaced in the marketplace. Develop an attitude for customer centricity. Whatever you do, keep customer at the core of it. So these things, the current, the post COVID wave has taught us to be more agile on these things.
Got it, sir. And the young aspirants would definitely like to adopt that to ensure that they thrive in the new normal too. Moving on to my last question, and this one is on Reliance Emerging Leaders Program, or the RELP. The program provides exposure through a rotation program in the first year, as well as various structured learning, networking, and growth opportunities across the 2 years. For all the young leaders out there, why do you think going through this kind of a program is important? And how do you see that these would help students build a strong foundation?
I think, in my view, RELP is a very structured uh, re- program which I have seen in my career, because it actually gives you a hands-on experience to be part of the business. Like, it has two stints, one each of 6 months in each business, in two businesses. Within the 1 year, they cover two businesses minimum. And when I look at it, it actually, like, you're part of the business, you are working within the business, you are solving real life problems, you are one among the team members contributing to the solving the problem. And this experience you will never get in any other form of training. This is a unique program which I think we have developed. And the way, in my experience, we have seen the RELP aspirants going through the journey, we forget that they are here only for 6 months, so they get so engrossed in the solution finding and solving it. And even sort of, I'll say, on a routine basis, the amount of exposure they get dealing with the issues, the amount of mentorship they get, because they directly get exposure to deal with the business leaders, the various supply chain leaders within the organization, the various vendors, visiting sites, understanding the ground realities. So it's a hardcore working experience you gain in those 6 months. And generally, a live issue or a live problem is given to all the aspirants, so that they and the highest priority is accorded to resolving or addressing an RELP aspirant, because we know that, yes, as a company also, we try to get maximum out of these people in terms of deliverables, because we also look for fresh ideas, a new way of looking at the things which these aspirants bring in. And for the aspirant, it is a opportunity to work in real life examples, real life issues, meet the real life leaders, and be part of them in a day-to-day working. So, and I hope that gives you an insight.
Sure, sir. Got it. And while you mentioned about the Reliance Emerging Leaders Program, I just can't help but feel nostalgic because I myself joined as a part of the program in 2020. And I want to take this opportunity to tell our audiences a bit about the program. Uh, the Reliance Emerging Leaders Program, or RELP, is a getaway to the young leaders of tomorrow to join us and drive challenging projects, as Avisa pointed out, across Reliance Group. This is our group-wide program for management graduates. Uh, Moving on to further details about the program, if we can move on to the next slide. The RELP program involves a 2 year development journey with two challenging stints, as Ravi sir pointed out, of 6 months each to start with in the first year across different businesses, and the final role allocation in the second year. The stint and the final role could be across businesses, be it O2C, New Energy, Retail, Geo, or other allied businesses. The project as well as the final allocation would be in the track of your choice. In this case, the track in discussion, as is operations, the kind of projects and roles you can expect could be in transportation, logistics, supply chain, inventory, distribution, operation execution, automation, and procurement. Uh, we have Structured and personalized learning interventions across the 2 years of the program to ensure that the RELs who join us are groomed to be effective leaders for tomorrow. We also have various opportunities for the RELs to network among themselves, be it the Coffee Connects or the Patch Connects. We also have opportunities for the RELs to network among the leaders via different Coffee Connects. The program also opens up avenues for accelerated career growth and plethora of learning opportunities across the businesses. So, with this, I hope you're excited about the program and about TUP. Like I mentioned before, as a part of campus hiring, those who make it to the national finals of the ultimate pitch get a chance to back PPIs or the pre placement interviews as a part of Reliance Emerging Leaders program. So now I hope the letter RELP sounds way more exciting than it used to 15 minutes back. As we come to end of the session, I would definitely urge the audiences to ask if any questions they have, as we have the leader having close to 30 of experience who could guide you to build a strong foundation to start with. So we'll just have a look if we have any questions from the audiences. Okay, so I think we have a question flowing in. Uh, sir, the question is, what are the must-have domains that a student should work in to build a career in operations?
Okay. I think, as I explained, the supply chain has got multiple domains. Uh, Transportation is one big piece of domain. Again, in transportation, each mode of transportation is a domain by itself. Like road transportation is one domain, multimodal or rail coastal is one more domain. Uh, this is for domestic. Similarly, exports is a totally different ball game. So exports again for the containerized solid business is different. For liquids, it is a different business. So somebody who wants to be in a role in transportation, he can either be in road logistics, multimodal logistics, export logistics, or even chartering, which is the bulk liquid logistics. There is other piece of operations on supply chain, which is about the warehousing. So warehousing is a domain by itself. It can be the plant primary warehouses, which are mega warehouses. Similarly, we have secondary warehouses. So that's again a new area of work. We Supply chain technology is a third domain which I can talk of, because ultimately supply chain is totally tech driven these days. So technology has a big role to play. Supply chain technology is something which is a domain by itself. uh, Procurement is again one big piece within supply chain, which is an area by itself. Again, the class of procurement you do, whether it's a road freight or ocean freight or warehousing freight, all these are individual domains by itself. So wherever you get these opportunities, you can begin with, depending upon area of interest, and further build on that.
Got it. I hope that provides clarity to the question of the individual. Moving on, we have a second question stating that can we explore working with different businesses for the first year? I think this is regarding the REL program. So I'll take it up. Yes, we definitely. So the program is defined such that we get exposure to various businesses across Reliance Industries. The allocations happen such that an individual gets different business verticals. So be it if it's retail in the first stint, you get to work in hydrocarbon, or be it the petro retail business of Reliance in the second stage. So yes, the allocation does keep in mind your previous stint business, and with that you get allocated in the second stint in a different business altogether. So that is possible. Okay, moving on to the third question. How do we get to choose the permanent role after the stints in REL program for operation? Um, Again, as this is related to REL, I'll take it up. So basically, after you complete your two stints in ops over stretch over an year, after that, various requirements that have opened up across the business function, various business functions of Reliance, be it hydrocarbon or retail or petro retail or e-commerce, pharma. So the different business functions of Reliance, the openings are gathered together, and that's what is provided to us at the rails as an option, and we can again from there we can apply depending on our interests and the businesses we're looking forward to working in, with which the post which there would be a brief discussion with the business leader involved in that business, post which the final allocation happens. So this is the brief workflow of how you get to choose your final role. Okay, moving on to the next question. How do we choose the permanent role after the stints? I think we've already taken it up. uh, Now, we'll just wait and see if we have any further questions coming up. If not, we'll be moving on with the session. Okay. Uh, so, Ravi sir, with this, I think we come to the closure of the session. And it was a pleasure hosting you in this career cafe. But before we close, any last message or a piece of advice you'd want to give the viewers, from the B school across the country?
Yeah, Rahul, I think same here. It was a pleasant experience being part of this cafe. And I think the advice which I would leave with the all the B school aspirants is supply chain is a very exciting and I'll say challenging domain. Uh, it is something which is the going to make the differentiator in days to come. You would have all heard about the national logistics policy, which our prime minister recently unveiled under the PM Gati Shakti program, which talks about specifically about bringing down our logistics cost from which is currently at around 13% of our GDP to 7 to 8% of GDP, which is a global benchmark. So there is going to be enormous focus on supply chain and logistics, and with cutting edge technologies coming in supply chain, this is going to be a differentiator how the what the customer will experience, and there is so much of opportunities to bring down the cost. This is how we will add more value to our customers. So it's a very exciting space. So please do look at this option very seriously. uh, be it any space, be it domestic, exports, liquid, solid, warehousing, procurement. So within the supply chain domain, operations is a very, very exciting journey. So that would be my deep take on this.
Great. Thank you, sir. And definitely, there it would be there are a lot of opportunities waiting up ahead for the future leaders listening here and have tuned in this evening. So again, thank you, sir, for such a insightful conversation. We hope you enjoyed too, and to our viewers out there, we hope you found this discussion useful and insightful. We cannot wait to see your big ideas featuring in this session of The Ultimate Pitch. In case you have not already registered, go ahead and register at reliancetup.in. Register now. Also, all the best for bright and long career ahead. Stay safe. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.